Hello and good morning, CTS267 Section 840 students for the Spring 2017 semester at Anne Arundel Community College. This is the CCNP TSHOOT course, and this morning's video tutorial is going to be our tutorial and solution set for challenge activity number 10. It's the third set of trouble tickets that we're working with at PILE Forensic Ltd. So let's go ahead and check our scenario out here and see what we're going to be working on for this set of tickets. So looks like they had a flood that destroyed their distro layer switch and the access layer switches. Now, this information may seem kind of superfluous, but let's keep in mind that we're assuming maybe that everything was working before the flood, so there's a very good possibility that that information is indicating that the issues are going to reside on these three devices that were replaced. So Carrie, again, replaced the devices, restored connectivity for VLAN 10 users, and that should be PC1. However, there's still some issues that she can't figure out. So first of all, PC3 does not have internet access. For example, Carrie can ping from PC1 but not PC3. So let's validate that that's in fact the issue. So let's go to PC1. And let's make sure show IP interface brief, and how about a show IP route here to make sure we see our default gateway address as well as 10.0.10.2. So can we ping our gateway? Let's start here. We can, and so let's confirm that we can ping out to the internet. 165, was it 200 dot, or 201.225, or no, 200.129. Okay. When I trace out to 209.165.200.129, and we'll use the numeric so we're not waiting for name resolution, you can see that we don't have any problems at all. And again, we're familiar with this network. We know that this is going to take us out to that BGP peer at ISP1, and then this is going to be the router in the cloud there, the internet. All right, so we've confirmed that PC1 does have connectivity. So now we can kind of mix and match. Let's go ahead and we'll try to divide and conquer here on PC3. So let's see what happens when we say ping 209.165.201.1 or 200.129. Can't keep these IPs straight. Let me make sure that was the right IP. Yeah, 200.129. So we're now confirming Carrie's initial assessment, which is there's no connectivity from PC3 to the internet. Let's see, can we ping show IP interface brief and then a show IP route? Excuse me. Okay, so we get the IP address 10.0.20.3, and I'm not sure of the VLAN assignment for PC3. So let's do this. Let's pull our job aid up. And let's take a look and see, because we can see there's already an issue here. You can see the default gateway is not set, and we've got this IP address here that I am assuming, and I assumed incorrectly, I'm sorry. So that is in VLAN, what should be VLAN 20. But we're not getting the default gateway address. So we should be picking up the default gateway address. So what's interesting is when we do a compare and contrast, what's the method for the address here? It's DHCP. When we look at PC3, it says NVRAM, but it should be coming to us, and let's get on the distribution layer switch where I'm pretty confident, and it should be C1SC0. All right, so let's say show run section DHCP. Yeah, so we should be picking up a DHCP address. Let's confirm. So kind of jumped over there to see should we be getting it from DHCP, and you can see we've got the default router here and the network statement for VLAN 20 pool. So, oops, sorry, on PC3's switch, so SW2. Let's do a quick check here, and let's say C1SCO. Whoops, C1SC0. There we go. And let's say show VLAN brief. I want to confirm that Ethernet 01 and 02 show run and actually, interestingly enough, what do you notice right away here? did I click on the right switch? So what's interesting is it shows a different switch name. Okay, let's come over to ASW1, and so this shows the correct switch name, CISCO. And so what threw me was I looked at the VLAN config, and you can see here we've got VLAN 10 and 20, no ports in 20, and and that's okay. And now we see a duplicate IP address, and this is supposed to be... Alright, so it looks like we've got a number of issues. So first of all, there is no VLAN 20 here on show run int Ethernet 01 and show run int Ethernet 02. Alright, so let's see what port is PC3 plugged into. So let's do this. Show interface Ethernet 00. Let's get our burned in MAC. So AABBCC006700. So let's come back over to what we believe is ASW2 that's actually labeled ASW, or has the host name set to ASW1. So let's say show MAC address table. And let's just take a look at the whole table here. All right, so we're looking at 6700. So it is in fact in the wrong VLAN, and we have a duplicate address, and the name is incorrect. So again, contextually, right, we started out with a divide and conquer. Well, actually, we started out confirming that the issue existed. It clearly existed. So even from PC3, let's see, can I get to, and I should not be able to get to because I don't have a default gateway, but can I get to 10.0.20.1, the default gateway for VLAN 20? And again, this is assuming because it says the documentation could be incorrect. However, from other diagrams that we've seen, and let's see, can we get to 10.1? All right, so this doesn't appear to have reachability anywhere. And again, it's not getting the default gateway, which it should be getting for that VLAN. So we're going to go with this should be in VLAN 20. That PC3 should reside in VLAN 20. And I was going to say, contextually, when we look at the issue here, what did we have? Well, we had these three components were replaced. And the VLAN 10 component, specifically PC1, that was a critical PC. It was stood up right away. So it's possible that when these were replaced, that maybe Carrie confused ASW1 with ASW2. So let's do this, and we're also seeing this duplicate IP address, this 1099.6, and I would bet you, show IP interface brief, that it's indicating we've got a duplicate IP, and there it is. Yeah, so it looks like what happened here. So this is ASW1, and it is using 10.0.99.6. If I come over here to ASW2, show IP interface brief, and again, what I'm doing now is it may seem like I'm bouncing around, but I'm basically trying to validate that what's going on is that ASW2, which is the tab here, has been configured as if it was ASW1. We've got the ASW1 host name, we've got the VLAN 99 IP address from ASW1, we have the VLAN configurations for ASW1 in terms of we've got VLAN 10 and no VLAN 20. So to avoid, I guess there's not much that needs to change. So let's take care of this. So let's do this. So that ASW2, right? So the host name is ASW2. We know that for a fact. Let's say VLAN 20. And we'll just name it VLAN 20. And so do show VLAN. Whoops, let me get out of VLAN configuration mode. Do show VLAN. And we take a look here. And there we go. So now we've got VLAN 20. And again, VLAN 10, if I were to go back and take a look at the job aid, and again, these are always touch and go, the job aids, that is, because of the fact that they tell you right out of the gate that they may not be accurate. So that always leads to a little confusion. So yeah, it says VLAN 20, and it says that's where we should be getting our IP address, and that this is our default gateway. We should be getting the address from DHCP. And let me see, they usually have a VLAN color coordinated one, but they don't. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So there is no VLAN 10 required here. So no VLAN 10. And let's go into interface range, Ethernet 01 to 2. And we're going to say switch port host, and then switch port access VLAN 2. Now remember, it's VLAN 20, sorry. Remember that switch port host, right? That's a macro, and it sets the port to an access port. It turns port fast on the port, and it disables if you had any channel grouping, ether channel setup, it's going to disable that as well. So now we're going to put the port into the right VLAN. So what do those two ports look like? Do show run interface Ethernet 01, right? That looks much better. And then, oops, sorry, Ethernet 02. And now those look correct. So let's address this issue as well. And I should have looked at that a second ago. What is the VLAN 99 IP address supposed to be? Yeah, and that is clearly what happened, is we had that duplicate IP, so it should be .7. So let's take a look at do show run interface VLAN 99, and that's definitely the issue. So interface VLAN 99, and let's say IP address 10.0.99.7. We'll make that a /24. So now the duplicate address issues should go away. We shouldn't have any issues with the duplicate address at this point. So do show IP interface brief. And you can see there VLAN 99, we've got the correct IP. Can I ping? Let's see if I can ping over to 99.6. Do I have reachability over to ASW1? And we do over the management VLAN. So that's good news. So now let's roll back to PC3, because there were a number of faults here. We were missing the right VLAN. We had a duplicate IP address, and the port was misconfigured with the wrong VLAN. So show IP interface brief. All right, so we have this 20.3, but we still, let's see if we can ping 10.0.20.1. So can we ping what should be that default gateway address? And we cannot. But again, we should be getting information via DHCP. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in and we're going to say, we'll get into global config. Interface Ethernet 00 is the interface that we're using. We're going to shut it down, and let's see if this will pull back a DHCP address for us. And so then we'll say no shut. And we'll give it a second, and we'll see if we grab an address here. Do show IP interface brief. And the NVRAM, when it says method, right, you can see IP CP here if you're doing the PPP IP address negotiated. DHCP is what we should be seeing. We're seeing NVRAM, which is indicating that it's been configured. So let's take a look at the actual port. And sure enough, and in hindsight, I should have looked at this almost right away, I believe, but again, hindsight's 20/20. So, but we see that it's hard-coded, and it's not supposed to be hard-coded, so do show IP route. We still have no default gateway, and we need that information via DHCP. So let's get into interface Ethernet 00. We're going to say no IP address, and I'm going to say IP address DHCP. And again, if I wanted to do IPv6, I could say IPv6 address autoconfig, right? And that'll give me an IPv6 do show IPv6 interface brief, right? And you can see I pick up a link local address. Okay, and again, since there are no router advertisements coming to me, where this isn't, and again, I did the IPv6 just to compare it with IPv4. We're not getting any router advertisements because there's no IPv6 running upstream from us. So we're not going to get that global unicast address, but we do when you type the IPv6 address autoconfig, we're going to get an EUI 64 link local address. Okay, so we've got the IP DHCP on there. So let's shut the interface down, and we'll wait until we see that the line protocol is down and everything is down. And then let's go ahead and say no shut. And let's see if we pick up do show IP interface brief. It says DHCP, no address yet. And we'll give it a second here. And the next thing that we're going to look at, do show run interface Ethernet 00. Let's make sure we've got IP address DHCP. We do. So we're good there, and so we're still not picking up the DHCP address. So let me go back and take a look, a little closer look at the pool. So here's the VLAN 20 pool. And we've got the default router, the DNS server, and the pool address. All right, let's see. Whoops. Let's see how the distribution layer switch show run interface VLAN 20. All right, so interface VLAN 20 is 10.20. Aha. Okay. So it looks like VLAN 20 is actually configured with an incorrect IP address. That should be, and let's check the job aids one more time. I think it's 10. It should be 10.0. Yeah, it should be 10.0.20 and not 10.20.0. And there's another chart. No. All right. Yeah, so that's got to be incorrect as well. And so again, kind of going off the hunch that something on the distribution, because this was one of the devices or components that was replaced, interface VLAN 20, 10.0.20.1. So we'll fix that. All right, so let's go back to PC3. Let's shut that interface down. And then let's bring it back up. And let's see if we gather up an IP address here. And there we go, 10.0.22. All right, so now when I say do show IP route, you should see that the default gateway, and this was the address that we literally just added to the SVI, the switch virtual interface on the DSW switch. So can I ping 10.0.20.1? We did. Okay, fantastic. Now let's see, can I ping out to 209.165.200.129? We can. What does a trace look like? 209.165.200.129 numeric. Aha. So it gets up to the border router and then dies. And so this may, well, no, this isn't the Cisco.com. So that's interesting that it gets out to that border router, this HQ router here, which is our border router. And let's say show run section BGP. So I'm going off a hunch right now that we are not advertising. And let's take a look and see. I'm pretty sure we have show IP interface brief. We've got NAT on that interface. And that's going to be show run int Ethernet 01. Yeah, and we are doing NAT. IP NAT outside. Yeah, and this should look familiar, right? Because this was the access list that we've worked with before for the BGP issue. Because again, we're still in that same PILE network. Redistribute internal. Yeah, but it does not. So we basically get here to the Ethernet 00 interface, and then we're not getting anything back. And what is the access group 100 in and inspect out? So how about a show access list? Okay, so we've got access group 100 in. So here's access group 100. And we've got TCP and ICMP is allowed inbound. And that's interesting. And let's see, inspect out. so we've got ICMP allowed to come back inbound. Let's see. Yeah, it does not like that. So let me do this. I want to confirm if the issue is, and so here's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go into, I'm going to change this access list 100 because outbound IP inspect out. So I'm wondering, let's go into interface Ethernet 01. This will be an easy thing. No IP inspect out. So I'm going to pull that off, and what I'm doing is I'm really quickly confirming, does that have something to do with the issue? And it doesn't appear that it does. So what I can do is I can put this back, and I believe we've seen this before. And let's get into IP access list extended 100, and I'm going to say 5 permit ICMP any. And let's see if that, because what I'm trying to do right now is narrow it down to the issue being one of these ACLs, and it doesn't appear that that's the problem. So I'm just going to simply say, we'll say no 5. And so I'll quickly pull this out here. And so we've got the route out. And you know, I could have swore there was a network statement. Do show run section router BGP. Yeah, and we do have our network statement in here. Huh. Distribute list route out. Let's make sure that the outbound distribute list is correct. And it is. Yeah, that is really weird. All right, so maybe this has got something to do, again, because we kind of sometimes overlap issues. So let's do this. I'm going to move on to PC4 at the branch office. Cannot access the internet. And let's see if this might be tied in with that issue. So first things first, when we read this, right, it says trying to access cisco.com instead of giving us an IP address. So this could be an indicator that they're looking for some sort of name resolution to be done. So first let's validate the issue, because I don't believe they give us an IP for Cisco. Let's check. Let's make sure there is no IP for cisco.com. And I don't believe I saw one. Got some NTP information. Yeah, so there's no IP address. And the fact that they specifically call out. Okay, so PC4, we can't get to PC4 because we had to go from HQ2 last time, but I just saw this note. So device access information. And so this is one of the tricky parts of this exercise, is that use telnet only from PC1. So whereas before they allowed us to access PC4 from the HQ router, HQ2, now we can only access it from PC1. And so the IP address for PC4 is 10.0.30. And it should be 4. I think I went right by it. PC4. Okay, so so first we have to connect to the branch router to see what IP address I got, because it's getting it via DHCP. Because I was just thinking to myself, how are we going to know what the IP is? So we've got to go to the branch router first, and then we can go to PC4. All right, so the branch router is 10.0.30.7. So let's do that. And can we can't access branch directly, can we? We cannot. All right, so from PC1, let's telnet to 10.0.30.4. And did I get that wrong? It's 30.7, isn't it? Yeah, 30.7. So we'll do a Control-Shift-6, try to break out of this. And it looks like we're going to have to wait for the timeout. Should be quick here. And again, it's going to be interesting to see if we can go from the branch to PC4 or if we have to go to the branch to get the IP and then exit off of the branch router back onto PC1. Okay, and so CISC0 or C1 and C1SC0. So show IP DHCP bindings. Let's see what we've got here. And this should be, well, let's see if we can get there from here, Telnet 10.0.30.2. All right, so we can get in from the branch router. All right, CISC0. All right, so we're finally on PC4 here, and now let's try to validate the issue. Right, so they're trying to get to, let me see, show run includes Cisco. Let's see if they have a statement in here, because there's a couple ways that we can fix this. So if I was to try to ping, let's see if we can ping 209.165.200.129. And again, divide and conquer. Let's see if using the an IP address, so I can get all the way to the internet. So I know that my layer 3 connectivity from PC4 at the branch through the HQ2 router, through the headquarters network, out the headquarters border router, HQ1, to the internet and back. I've got connectivity. There's no issues whatsoever here. And so this is the reason that they said Cisco.com. Exactly. So we end up with this, and this is where you get into the, we have domain lookup is on right now. And so there's a couple ways that we can sort this out. So the first thing that we can do is I could put, although I don't know what the IP address is supposed to be of Cisco.com. So we've got the IP domain name lookup. So if we have that, then we would need to have, let's see, do show IP interface brief, or it's not so much that. So DHCP is the address. So we're getting an address from DHCP, do show IP route. And we're getting a default gateway, but are we picking up, let's see, the DHCP server would be the branch router, but we're going all the way from PC1. So if this is coming from DHCP, here's what we're going to have to do. We're actually going to have to get off of the PC, back to the branch router, show run section DHCP. Yeah, and so we need a DNS server, right? We need to have DNS server information in order to perform this lookup. And since the address is coming from DHCP, we can put the DNS server in here. We would need, and I'm pretty sure they gave us a DNS server down here. That's NTP server information. HQ router. So do they give us any DHCP information? They don't. So we've got to be using, well actually let's do, so at the distribution switch then we should see if we're using, and let's see, can I ping Cisco.com? Okay, so there's no DNS information there. It's got to be in the show run section. It's got to be in the DHCP. Yeah, so this is where we saw the DHCP server, I'm sorry, the DNS server information earlier was under the DHCP config. Oh, right. Okay, so I apologize. I ran this command real quick. But on DSW1, it's not going to be configured. But if I go to PC2, who should be getting it, sorry about that. I thought we were jumping around the devices here. So from here, if I were to say ping Cisco.com, yeah. So you see we have IP domain name lookup is on. So let's go ahead and do sort of a post-mortem here. So IP domain lookup is on, which means typically when you see, you have to wait, you type a command that doesn't exist, and the Cisco CLI takes that to be a host name. And if you don't have no IP domain lookup, it's going to sit there and try to resolve the bogus command that you typed in as a host name. But here we want to have domain lookup on, right? Because we want the resolution to take place, and we need to have a DNS server for that to happen. And so here is that DNS server address, and you can see from PC2 it works because PC2 is getting that address. So if I was to say trace to cisco.com. So you can see it's doing the domain name lookup. It's trying to look up ciso.com, which doesn't exist, and so that's what we get. So let's say trace cisco.com. And again, we're using the host name, so we need that domain name lookup so that it can do the translation, right? To translate from the fully qualified domain name to the numeric IP address. And so you can see our first hop is our default gateway. We should go to 10.107, which is the HQ router, the HQ1 router, our border router. And then we're going to go out to the internet. And let's see if we get the .2 address as the last hop, or if it hits the cisco.com. So there's that 200.2, and then we make our way back. So it's working here. So what we need to do is the DNS address 201.209 is I would have to come in, get into global config and say IP DHCP pool VLAN 30 pool and put the DNS server of 209.165, and I've already forgot the address. Where's PC2? 201.209, right? And so then let's say end, we'll do a write mem, and let's get back over to 10.0.30.2, CO, and get into privilege exec, CISCO, and then into global, and well, actually we could test it now, but here's what I want to do. I want to go into interface Ethernet 00. We're going to shut the interface down, and then I'm going to force a renew of the IP address information, because I don't believe we would have picked that up. And interestingly enough here, and thinking that I was on the console, what just happened? What do you think just happened? Exactly. I just shut the interface down on PC4, the interface through which we are connecting to PC4, thinking that I was on the console. Now, if PC4 is in Siberia, we've got some serious problems right now. So we'll come over to Manage Devices, and this will be a quick fix here. But again, lesson learned, I shut the interface down when I didn't want to shut it down, because I cut myself off, again, thinking that I'm on the console. So we're going to do a power cycle on PC4, and let's see, it should not save that into the running config. And by power cycling it, we're definitely going to have it renew its IP address, its DHCP information. So yeah, as soon as I hit shut, I looked and I'm like, oh, why is that frozen? And then I realized, because I'm not on the console, I'm on a VTY line remotely telnetted in. And so here's PC4, and we should see, and actually we've recycled PC4, but I need to recycle PC1 as well, or we need to wait for that to time out. So let's recycle PC1 as well. We're going to say power cycle PC1 again, because I'm remotely connected in. So there we go. So PC1 is going to reboot. It's nice with the IOL. It should take us about 30 seconds here for a reboot. There we go. Comes up nice and quick. All right, and Yeah, so what we're going to have to do, it looks like, is exit out. So we know the solution. We need to, well, we added the DNS information, and then let's go back in here to challenge 10. And again, if PC4 was in Siberia, right now we would be calling somebody saying, hey, we need someone to get out there and no-shut the interface if you didn't have some sort of out-of-band management of some kind. All right, so we're back in. Let's get on to PC1 and hopefully the... Yes, there we go. Problem solved. So can we get back to Telnet 10.0.30.7? And let's see, show IP interface briefs. Now we've got some other troubleshooting issues. So looks like we're waiting on a DHCP address. And we know that PC1 was working, so we'll give it a couple seconds here. Show run interface Ethernet 00. Show IP interface brief. All right, so there we go. Now we've got our IP address. Now let's go back to Telnet 10.0.30.7. And we are back over here now, C1 SC0. So we're on the branch router. Let's get into privilege exec. And let's say show run section DHCP. And the DNS server information's on there. So now let's get over to PC4 that we rebooted, 10.0.30.2. And let's hope it still has that address, and it does. So now we're back on PC4, so everything looks good. Now let's do our final validation here. Show IP interface brief. All right, so we're good there. Show IP route. Did we get our default gateway? We did. Now, what if I was to say ping cisco.com? And you can see it's translating it in the domain name server. There is the value that we were using. And let's make sure that's the right 209.165. If I go back over to DSW1. And that is definitely the fix. Section DHCP. 209.165.201.9. Okay, so let's do, let's do this, IP domain, and see what's set right now. So let's say do show run, include domain. Yeah, because by default it should be on. So if I was to say IP domain name, let's go domain dash name lookup, and IP domain, domain lookup, do show run, include domain. All right, so let's give this a try again here. Let's say ping cisco.com. All right, whew, well, that was a close one there. All right, so that takes care of everything with the exception of that PC3 issue that we had. And where we try, I think we're just trying to go out to 209.165.200.129. And PC3, again, was having issues. It couldn't get out. When we traced, we ended up at the border router. So, in effect, we haven't solved 209.165.200.120. Now, should do numeric. Let's do numeric there real quick. Save ourselves some time. And my guess is we get to 10.107, or is it, uh-oh. So when we exited out, what happened here on PC3? Show IP interface brief. I assume that we had the right information. Show IP route. Whoops. Show IP route. Okay, default gateway is not set, so that's going to be an issue. And VLAN 20, 10.0.20.1. Show run int VLAN 20. So why am I not picking up? So it looks like PC3 lost. Oh, and it looks like it's hard-coded in there. Is that right? Show run interface Ethernet 00. Huh. So when we backed out, and again, this is one of the drawbacks of IOU, get a little extra troubleshooting, but no IP address. Sometimes it's a little flaky. You can see it hard-coded an address back in here, and we want IP address DHCP. and then we're going to say shut. I'm going to bring the interface down and then no shut. It looks like it's going to and no shut. And let's bring it back up. We should be getting an IP address here shortly. Do show IP interface brief. All right, not yet. We'll get a message. Typically, we'll see a message here in IOL if it does pick up. And I'm really hoping that we didn't lose off of, and now I'm thinking that did we lose the config off of, okay, no, it says it's the right switch. Let's see if we lost anything here. So show VLAN brief. No, and those are in the right. Maybe I was just being a little too anxious. And are we picking do show run interface Ethernet 00? Do show IP interface brief. Did we get an IP? We don't have do show IP route, so we've got no default information. So the other issue was here 10.20.0.1. That is correct. And so I'm wondering now if I broke. So the interface is up. Okay, so let's go up to ASW1. Let's say show MAC address table. Do we see the MAC address? 6700. It should be. Is that 6700? Do show int Ethernet 00. No, it's 6800. All right, so we do see the MAC address. We're in Ethernet 01. Conft interface Ethernet 01. Do show run interface Ethernet 01. And we've got the correct configuration here for VLAN 20. And we already said do show VLAN, so we see Ethernet 01's in the right port. So why are we not getting an IP address? And we are up to show IP interface brief. Sorry about that. Yeah, so not picking up anything from DSW1. And let's make sure, show VLAN brief. VLAN 20 is there, so we're good. We've got the pool. Let's make sure all of our values are correct. 10.0.20, 10.0.21. And this is correct, so I'm going to do this. Let's shut the interface down again. Give it another try here, no shut. We're going to ping the default gateway to see if we can get to the 10.0.21 here, if we can get an address. Do show IP interface brief. Yeah, so it shows up. And this is where IOL will hang up. So here's what I'm going to do. On the distribution layer switch, I'm going to say write mem. And on the access layer, or on the PC, let's do the same thing. Let's say write mem. And last gasp effort here, let's reboot the DHCP server, which is DSW, and we'll reboot PC3 as well in an attempt to pick up those addresses. So DSW, let's power cycle. Because again, it was working, right? So typically if it's working and then all of a sudden, you know, we go out of the exercise, we come back into the exercise, sometimes IOL system error occurred. All right. Let's manage devices here. Let's see, did DSW reload? It did. Okay. So let's see. CSCO. And it could, actually, you know what it could be related to? Show IP DHCP binding. Let's see if... all right, so nobody's got any DHCP information yet. Let's go to PC3. And let's get back into global config, interface Ethernet 00. And we're going to say shut. Because DSW should show that everybody's picking up the DHCP information. And let's take a look here. So nothing is being picked up. IP DHCP. Bindings, not there. Show run. Interface VLAN 20. Let's make sure the... sorry, show run. Interface VLAN 20. Let's make sure that VLAN 20 is there and it's up. Do show IP interface brief. Everything looks fine. Oh, sorry, show IP interface brief. Show IP interface brief. Oh. So it flipped the IP on us. And I hope that wasn't the IP address 10.0.20.1. Whoops. And 255.255.0. I hope that wasn't the issue before and that I just didn't see it. I was assuming that the address had stayed the same. So there we go. So let's change that address because we knew that that was an issue. That was one of the issues before. Let's shut the interface down. Let's do a no shut and bring the interface up. And let's see if now do we get a DHCP address. There we go. All right. Okay, so we've got that do show IP interface brief, do show IP route, and now it's telling us that we don't have a default gateway, which did it remove. And so this is one of the challenges. Do show, not show run. Yeah, show run includes section DHCP. Not include section, sorry. Section DHCP. Okay, and 10.0.21, the default router is there, and that is correct. Do show IP interface brief. So this looks like we may be chasing our tails here with this DHCP information. Let's see, maybe we just didn't wait long enough. Okay, there we go. Default gateway, we've got it, so we're good to go there. So do ping Cisco.com. Okay, so now we've got internet access out to Cisco.com. All right, well this was pretty gruesome here in terms of the issues that we were having with IOL at the same time. But again, sometimes you'll have issues with iOS when you're working with actual physical equipment. So this is going to wrap up challenge activity number 10. We saw where we had some DHCP issues. We had a config put on SW2 that was actually from SW1, and we had to go in there and sort that out. We had to do a couple of power cycles, pop out of the exercise, come into the exercise, and then we saw that the DNS server entry for the domain name lookup was missing from the DHCP pool over on the branch router. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on Thursday night.